Greetings, people of the internet. It's Scott with CircWorks, and it's Friday. That means it's Fan Art Friday. And if you watched last week, you'll know that I did some Mad Max sketch cards, and I hadn't seen the movie at the time, but since then I have seen it, so I had to come back and do some more because I thought it was really, really awesome. And I'm going to show you the drawing process of working on these. Let's see. So I've got a Morton Joe and one of the War Boys. Last week I did some heroes, so I wanted to do some villains. So I'm going to show you kind of the process of how I did this and talk a little bit about the movie. I'll try to keep it fairly spoiler free, but yeah, let's go to it. All right, let's get into drawing some sketch cards from Mad Max Fury Road. And if you saw last week's Fan Art Friday video, like I mentioned in the intro, I hadn't seen the movie at that time, but I've since seen it, and wow, I was really impressed. Just an incredible action movie. But so I may have mentioned this last episode. So me and my girlfriend went to an early showing. They've got if you go to the first showing of movies, like at least out here at most of the theaters out here, they've got it's not even a matinee. It's like it's even cheaper than that. But you can go see a movie for like, I don't know, I think it's like $5.75 or something like that. So we went there and we kind of split up, and she went and saw Pitch Perfect, and I saw Mad Max. And then when our movies came out, we just met back up again. And she likes to tease me because I guess Pitch Perfect made like $70 million, and Mad Max made a meager, what, 30 or 40 million, which is still is pretty good opening, I think. I'm hoping that it just word of mouth and this will spread, because all the talk, and myself included, about this movie is just I mean, you just got to see it. I mean, it's awesome. It has like all the elements that you want in a Mad Max movie, and just with the updated, I don't even say updated technology, because they use so many practical special effects, but it just I don't know. It just it's like it's just beyond what what you've seen, I guess. I mean, but again, these stunts and everything, the cinematography and the character design, and the characterization, and the story, and I mean, I just I loved everything about it. So I definitely want to go see it again. My friend went to go see it too, and he went to what they have are these, they call them the D-box seats, and they're like these motion activated seats that kind of move around as with whatever's going on in the movie. And I've never tried it. I thought about it, and I'm like, because I'm not really big on gimmicks. Like, I usually don't opt for like the 3D version, which this movie also is in 3D and everything, I think. But I've seen them, and I enjoy the 3D and everything. But it's like, once I've seen it, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. But so I always wanted to try these seats out, and I haven't yet. But if I go back and see it, I may want to opt for those seats, because I think if there's any movie that's like made for that type of experience, it's this, because just the amount of action and the amount of like things blowing up and throwing you around, and just it probably would be the ultimate experience. But I don't know, I guess I would have to go back pretty soon, because they rotate different movies, because I think they only have one theater that has these seats in them, and they kind of rotate it. So if there's another, like, say, it's usually action movies where they do this, so if there's another one that comes out before the time I get out there, I might not be able to do that. But yeah, I didn't even think about it at the time. But I might, if I can get back and see it, I might want to check that out. I'm going to ask my friend I haven't heard from him what he thought of the whole experience, but it might be something worth checking out. So this character here I'm working on, did the pencil stages, now moving on to inks, is a Morton Joe, who is the main villain, and he's kind of the guy that rules the land. He's in control of the water and the gasoline and everything, so he can pretty much do whatever he wants, and he has slaves, and I don't think this is too much spoiler. It's just kind of the plot, but basically all the women are slaves, and just for breeding in this world, except for Charlize Theron's character, who I drew last week, and I guess they never really mentioned this in the movie, but I guess she can't have children or anything, so she's basically useless to to anyone. So she kind of goes on a crusade to rescue the women and everything like that, and then runs afoul of Mad Max. But but you will see that if you watch the movie. And so somebody was asking, I think it was my brother. I guess he's never seen any of the original Mad Max movies, and he was like, "Well, is it like a sequel? Do I need to have seen the other movies, or or what's the deal here?" Because he wanted to see it, but he didn't know if he had to go back and watch all the other movies. And in some ways, I think it is a sequel. I mean, I think it takes place after the previous three movies, but it's totally self-contained story. And I think I mentioned this before, but the director had mentioned that this is just one of Mad Max's many adventures. So, he has many adventures, and this is just one. So it is self-contained. So you don't have to watch. You don't. There's really not much referencing back to any of the previous movies. Of course, I'm off screen again a little bit, so I hate when I do that. But what was I saying? Yeah, the only thing really that you have to know, I mean, that he's kind of haunted from his past. And if you watch the first Mad Max, you'll kind of know, what happened. Had something horrible happened to his family and everything like that. And he has sort of flashbacks, but they're not. They're just like snippets and things. And you don't even have to know that because it's more. All you're knowing is that there's voices on your head, and this guy is a little off kilter, and that's why he's Mad Max, because he's a little pretty crazy, and he's like hearing voices and things and about horrible things from his past. But you don't, I mean, you can kind of gather that from the movie, so you don't need to see any of the previous movies. So in a way, it's a sequel. In a way, it's it's its own thing. So. All right, so moving on to coloring in some of this guy, I'm using my Copic markers. And for the inks, I use the brand is called Deleter. It's a manga ink. I get that shipped in from Japan. It's a little pricey just because of the shipping and everything like that, but it's really the best ink I've found, and it works really good with the Copic markers. It's the only thing I found that doesn't smudge. So it's Deleter Black #5, and they've got a lot of other ones. And I don't know what the difference is with the other ones. They've got like 1 through, I don't know if it goes up to 6 or 5 or whatever, and I don't know what the difference is. But the Deleter #5 works really great for me, so that's what I use for my inking. And then I use a combination of Copic markers or Copic markers, and I use some old Pantone markers that I have too. And just kind of do some blending in with that and everything. Oh yeah. So what else? What else can I say about Mad Max? Hold on, I'm gonna get a drink here. So one of the things that that I was kind of surprised, because when I went to see it, I'm like. I'm there in line, and there's this guy, and he's got his 3 kids, and they had to all been under 5, and I'm like, is this guy taking his kid to see Mad Max? I don't know, because it's an R-rated movie, and I mean, I believe parents are, they should be allowed to, make their own decision what's right for their kids and everything. But sometimes it's like, especially because kids at that age tend to talk a lot, and I don't really mind that much if I'm going to see like a kid's movie. But when it's an adult movie and they're talking through the whole movie, that gets bad. So like they sat right next to me and back of me, and I'm like, oh man, this is not it's not going to be good. So but yeah, they were actually in the beginning, they were talking a lot before like the movie started, but they they tend to quiet down for the most part. So I got a lot of kicks in the back of my chair, but it stopped for a while. So I was worried, but it wasn't too bad. But the reason why I'm saying this, because I usually when I see or like movies that are rated R or whatever like that, they're rated R for a reason. And a lot of times I get a little upset when a movie is, especially if it's like a sequel to a movie that was originally R, and then just to bring in more people, they they do what they can and they cut things out to make it a PG-13 movie just to bring in more crowds. And sometimes the movie suffers a lot from that kind of editing and things like that. But but in this particular case, when I went to see the movie, and I don't know if I was paying close attention to every little thing, but I was kind of surprised that it was R. I definitely thought. I mean, I know I've seen PG-13 movies that were were worse than that. I mean, there's I don't think there was, unless I just missed it or whatever. I don't think there was any cursing in the whole movie for one. It was definitely violent. I mean, there's definitely a lot of deaths and everything like that. So don't get me wrong about that. It was definitely a violent movie, but the violence wasn't really gratuitous. Even some of these, PG-13 horror movies that come out, I mean, definitely way worse than this. And I mean, there were so many opportunities where, people are flying off these cars and stuff, and they're getting, you know, they're blowing up and stuff, but you don't see anything. You don't see body parts falling apart. You don't see people's like heads getting crushed under the wheels of these massive rigs that they're driving. It's very well done. I mean, the director I mean, in general, just an awesome direction and just choosing the shots and things. But it wasn't really anything gratuitous. I mean, I don't really understand the rating system, why certain things get certain ratings and certain things don't. But for getting an R rating, I was kind of surprised because I wouldn't hesitate to bring like an older kid to this movie, having seen it and everything. Um, you know, and again, it's based on whatever your kid's sensibilities and things are, but um, yeah, I just didn't really see why it should have been an R rating. Um, but but the thing, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I'm watching this movie and just again these amazing stunts and these vehicles and just the character design and everything. I mean, this would have probably been like the coolest toy line ever. I mean, I, I mean, if you can imagine just watching this movie with all these cars, like, you know, ramming into each other and trying to throw each other off the road, and people jumping from one car to another, and cars getting blown up and pieces flying all over the place. And again, just the visual design of like the characters. I mean, this would have been such a cool toy line. And I mean, it's unfortunate that, I mean, even if it could have got that PG-13. I don't know how they. Well, because I think Avengers was probably PG-13. They definitely got toys of that. So I just think, and I don't like the idea of making movies solely for, you know, creating a toy line. I mean, a lot of things that were thrown into Star Wars were like that and everything. But again, it is, you expect toys from something like that. But really, I mean, I don't know. It just I would have loved to have these toys. When you see the vehicles, I mean, I used to have these things. Was like one of my earliest toys way back in the early '70s called. I think they were called Smash Up Derbies, and they had the rip cords where you pull them, and the cars like the old Evil Knievel bikes and stuff. But you'd have two people, you play with a friend, you pull these rip cords, and you have these cars, and they would just smash into each other, and all the pieces would go flying, and then you put them back together. But I mean, I just, it's unfortunate that they don't have a toy line for this movie. I mean, I just don't know, man. I would even, I mean, and I'm an adult and I don't really play with toys. I don't even collect toys that much anymore, but I think I would run out and buy these because they would just have been so, so cool. So anyway, back to the drawing. So got this character. He's one of the war boys, and there's a lot of them, and these guys are kind of guys that have been affected by the radiation or whatever, and most of them are kind of dying and stuff. So their mission is just to die in battle and go to Valhalla and everything like that. And this guy, you can see it's not my bad bad anatomy, but like one of his ears is kind of larger and kind of messed up. That's just from the radiation and everything like that. Um, but yeah, it's laying down some Copics on this, and yeah, about to get close to finishing this guy up. But again, I would, if you love action, if you love just great cinematography, great, visual world design, and great story in my opinion. And just, I can't say enough good things about this movie, and I definitely want to run out and go see it again, hopefully before, and try out those rumble seat things that they got, because um, it is really an experience to see a movie like this. So hopefully it does really well, and I think they've already committed to do more. So I can't wait for the next one. I was a big Mad Max fan to begin with, and after seeing this new one, I'm just recharged and ready for more and more and more. So give me more Mad Max, and if you want to see more of this, subscribe to my channel and like and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And with that, I'll see you later, and that is all.